Hello, Mr. Hausman. Would you like some pretzels?
What? No peanuts?
No, sorry. There's a little Shih Tzu in first class, sensitive to nuts.
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the No Vacancy podcast. This is, of course, me, Glenn Hausman, and I am so stoked to have you aboard each and every week. Before we get started, I want to be sure that you guys are clicking through on Kevin, Barry, Fine Art. They're supporting me, so maybe you guys could support them. Take a look at what they got. Great art, amazing company, really fabulous people, folks that you're going to want to do business with, and we're going to be doing a lot more cool stuff with them as we get closer to launching an actual website for all of this kind of stuff, coming hopefully within the next month or so. And another thing you all could do for me is make sure you tell everybody, subscribe to the No Vacancy podcast, and you could do that at all your favorite places, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and wherever finer podcasts are available. So I'm here. I'm in a hotel room somewhere in downtown Chicago, and I'm heading into the Global Workforce Symposium. And by heading in, I mean heading out. I'm recording this super early in the morning before I leave town to get home. And I just wanted to talk for a few minutes before I bring up a couple of interviews that I have set for you today. So this is interesting. It's the Global Workforce Symposium. As I was saying, there are 1,800 people here. And these folks, what they focus on is employee relocation business. And it's not something that we really talk about much in the traditional hotel business. And I'm finding, as I'm doing a lot of work with this group called Here to Stay TV from Bridge Street Global Hospitality, and be sure to check that out at heretostay.tv. I'm exploring a lot more on the extended stay side of the business, the alternative accommodation side of the business, and I'm getting to go to a lot of different and interesting events, and after being in this business for, 20 years or so, it's fun to go to different events where I don't know anybody, which is strange because after, a couple of decades being around, you kind of seem to know people in your kind of universe. So you go to a cocktail party, and for the most part, it's one of those things where you walk around the room and every 5 feet you see somebody that you know and you get into a nice conversation. That's just not the case at some of these new events that I go to where you know absolutely nobody, which is a strange kind of thing. Kind of takes me back to when I first started off my career, and I was a scared little kid, and I would go into a hotel industry event and I would have to talk to somebody, and what would happen? I would totally freak out, and sometimes I would just leave the room entirely and couldn't even handle it. And it was just weird and awkward for me trying to figure out how to have a conversation with some of these people. But as you guys know, that is obviously not a problem for me anymore. I could talk. And quite frankly, I don't really care if anybody's listening. I'm going to be talking anyway. But I'm glad that you folks out there are listening. And did I mention do a 5-star review on iTunes for me? Send a review on iTunes for me. That helps me. You don't even know how much that helps me. I don't need you guys to do that much. All right. So anyway, back to this Global Workforce Symposium. What's really interesting to me is the whole idea here is about the relocation sector, and it's about when employees move from one place to another. And I suspect that we don't hear about this much in the mainstream hospitality business because it's longer extended stays for people, so they're looking more for furnished apartments and that sort of particular product. But the industry itself has got a lot of interesting opportunities for it and challenges for it. I'd say the biggest challenge that they have right now is the tradition that we've had in the last number of years of globalization seems to be going away with a sense of nationalism that's happening. Here in the United States, for example, there's a rising tide of nationalism and that tendency to want to close borders as opposed to open borders. Now, in Europe, for example, open borders has been a huge thing. I mean, the whole Eurozone has really transformed the way that Europeans interact with each other. It's kind of like me going from New York to New Jersey to Pennsylvania. I'm just driving. I don't have to think about anything. They can go from, France to Spain to Portugal to whatever without having to worry about stopping for border security, getting their cars inspected, long, big holdups. It's a very free and open sense of travel. But that could be changing as we see different political governments kind of come in and change things. Most notably, one thing I'm seeing is in Germany, which is interesting, though Angela Merkel won handedly for a fourth term over there. And most Americans think, oh, that's pretty much the headline there. But the real headline, and this is why I kind of encourage everybody out there to look at issues deeply, have critical thinking, is that 13% of the 13% of the country voted for a far right-wing party, which is pretty scary stuff, something that the government has tried to stop after World War II and Nazi Germany. They won't even allow political parties a voice until they have more of a 5% part of the population, something that they did not expect to happen here, yet it is. So things are changing. Things are a little concerning, I would say, for me as an individual. I'm all about the idea of globalism. I think in the end, economically, that's going to help countries. It's going to help the hotel industry in particular. If you look at how our major hotel companies here in the United States have leveraged globalism, it's done a great job. And I think it's also helped spark the idea of travel around the world. And as we know, the more that we travel, the more that we meet people from other countries, from other cultures, it breaks down those barriers between us. And we all start to realize that no matter what we look like, or no matter what kind of a crazy accent we have, or kind of kooky foods that we love to eat, we're all basically the same. We all want the same things. We want to feel safe. We want to feel secure. We want to raise our kids and give them a better life than we had. So it's interesting to see what's going to be happening, and then I hope that the leaders in the hospitality business take a look at this issue carefully and figure out how we can continue to support each other in a global environment and not kind of cut ourselves off because of an odd sense of fear that we have that's not really based in rationalism. All right, so another interesting industry that I'm seeing here, not another interesting industry, man, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm having a hard time using English today, people. So another major change that we're really seeing here in terms of the event that I'm at, the Global Workforce Symposium, is really the burgeoning era of apartment hotels that are coming up, called apart hotels. So what this is it's kind of like a serviced apartment, alternative accommodation kind of room, but it's got a lot of the hotel features, like a 24-hour check-in desk and a restaurant sometimes, and those features that we've all come to know and feel comfortable with. But the rooms are giant. You know, it's like having a great big space in order to be, and it helps you feel more like you're part of that community. And it's really a boon for folks that are tasked with placing people for relocating, because it helps give them a sense of normalcy, a sense that they've got some sort of structure in their lives. If you're living out of a suitcase in a hotel for an extended period of time, that can kind of make you go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? I mean, I'm looking at my suitcase right now. I never unpack my suitcase if I'm in a place for a few days, and I don't really care about that. But what I do care about is if I'm there for an extended period of time, I want to feel like I'm at home. I don't want to feel like I'm on the run, and that's particularly true with folks that are relocating. All right, so the final issue that I noticed here is a major opportunity, and that's technology. One of the things that have been holding back this particular business of alternative accommodations has traditionally been a lack of strong technology, meaning that you couldn't just book a room, for example, in real time. You'd have to fill out a form, then a human being on the other side would have to look at the form, figure out when they could get back to you, give you a call, then there'd be some sort of conversation, then there'd be more follow-up paperwork, and blah, 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 goes on and on and on, utilizing a lot of man hours or people hours, and not really getting things done quickly. So technology has an opportunity to do that, really simplify that booking process, which will save relocation executives time and money, mostly because there's new sites that are coming up and around, such as bridgestreet.com. This is going to be a shameless plug because they are doing something that's unique and individual, as well as being really smart and hiring me to host Here to Stay TV. Make sure you check that out. HereToStay.tv. But more importantly, what it's doing is it's giving a window to the world for the alternate accommodation universe. So now you could go to a site like bridgestreet.com and book a room instantly, or I should say a part hotel or a serviced apartment or home, instantly through this website. And that's really going to change the nature of things. So interesting here in Chicago. You should know, yes, I did have a deep dish pizza here in Chicago. And I really got to say, delicious, but I'm not really convinced it's a pizza. I'm as a New York guy, I'm all about New York pizza, and I know what that's like, and I love, actual Italian pizza, super thin crust and that, but this deep dish thing feels almost more like a baked dish as opposed to a traditional pizza. So while we call it deep dish pizza, I'm not necessarily sure it actually qualifies as pizza in my category. I'd like to hear why I'm wrong. Send me a note, Glenn@rouse.media, or find me on social media @TravelingGlenn. Absolutely delicious. I went to this place called Giordano's. That was really terrific. Man, so good. So basically, I had myself a small-size pizza, which was enough to feed I think a family of 20, and I had something called the special with sausage, mushrooms, green peppers, and onions. Oh, man, was that a good pizza. Not so good the next morning, but going down, it was absolutely spectacular. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to kick it off to another interview that we have. And that's with Adrian Curry, who's the global head with Home to Suites by Hilton. And we're going to talk a little bit about that road to 200 that's going to be opening up. I really love Adrian. He's such a great guy. I'm going to have him on the show a couple more times as they get closer to 200. I'm curious as to if you guys have a guess as to what location you think the 200th hotel is going to open at. So make sure, of course, that you send me an email, Glenn@rouse.media, or find me on those social media channels @TravelingGlenn. All right, so here we go. I'm going to take it away to Adrian Curry. All right, so I have Adrian Curry on the line with me. For those of you who don't know, he is, of course, global head of Homewood and Home to Suites by Hilton. And we're talking about the road to Home 200. Adrian, how are you, sir?
I am having another spectacular day in Memphis. Thank you.
Of course you are. Memphis is great, and not to bring in another hotel brand, but I just did a hotel history podcast with the Peabody down there, which will be running very, very shortly. So I'm excited about that. It's got me thinking about Memphis, life in Memphis, and maybe coming down there to hang out with you and Mongo sometime.
Well, yeah, you got to meet Mongo. That's awesome. Yeah, and I are probably the only two who are going to get that. So
I know. I encourage everyone to Google Prince Mongo of Memphis. You're in for a delight. All right, so Adrian, thanks for pulling me into this. You have 177 properties open right now under the Home 2 Suites flag by Hilton. And we're trying to figure out which one's going to go to 200. I love the idea of this challenge that you've given me and some other folks in the industry. What precipitated this idea?
Well, the first thing that happened here was the reason you were chosen on this was your original prediction that we wouldn't grow the Home 2 Suites very fast. I believe you said that you never imagined that it could possibly grow this fast, so we wanted to include you in on this extremely early.
I do like that because it serves a couple of purposes. One, it gets me good PR, but number two, it really rubs it in my face that I was not on the Hilton side on this particular issue. So thanks for that. It gives my therapist a lot more to talk to me about, so that's always a good thing.
Well, it's exciting for us. It has grown so extremely quickly. As you said, we're at 177 and getting off to the 200. And it's very exciting to us as Hilton because, as you know, we're also launching the True brand this year. And so we've got a couple of really spectacular products that we have going side by side in this launch process. And so the 200th Home 2, and part of it is for us to remind our True gang that we have 200 coming open, and they're still under 10. So.
Yeah, good. I like that. A little needling you could do to them at the water cooler over there.
There you go.
Which is always Absolutely. A good thing. Yeah, for sure. I will say the difference between the way Home 2 Suites launched and True launched, I think you guys had it much harder at the beginning. It seemed like there was a lot more people signing deals for True right away, right out of the gate than folks did for Home 2 Suites. So it was a little bit longer for you guys to, I would say, ramp up. But once you started ramping up, boy, did it really take off. And again, much more so and much more quickly and much more meaningfully than I ever imagined. And I'm just going to have to say that this is probably your pure genius, Adrian.
And I wish I could take credit for that. And
you can
and,
take it.
I'm just coming up on my second year here, and there were some things that I learned from my launch of Hilton Garden Inn. But the beauty of one of the things that I always said back in my Hilton Garden Inn days was that if I was going to build a hotel with my own money, and at the time the brand that I had of choice was Homewood, I would build an extended stay hotel. Mm-hmm. And I'd build an extended stay hotel with my own money because of the return on the investment. And I think that is what has really helped us with the Home2 brand. These first few that opened, the owners opened these, and we were extremely focused on the construction process and the ongoing operational process to make them as profitable as they could possibly be. So with the Hilton engine, we're driving the top line results. And then with the processes we have in place, that top line result is falling to their bottom line. And I think that's why we've gotten the traction that we have. It's not because of me. It's because they have operated and performed extremely well, and owners are sharing that information with other owners, and that's why they're lining up to build these.
And that's really a testament to the brand. So what do you think it is that is so appealing to the brand, not just from the ownership's point of view, but I do want to hear about that, but then from the customer side of things?
Well, we just did some consumer intercepts, and we wanted to make sure that we were on the right track, and they just love the space. It's all about the space, and for our all suites category, it's about the space. So between Homewood, Embassy Suites, and Home2, they love space, and we put the right amenities and attributes into that space so that they can enjoy their stay. And then with Home2, it's priced in an extremely nice way for those end users to come in and use it. So they can come in and they can enjoy the space in their room. They can rearrange the furniture the way they want to. They can cook. They can enjoy their stay. They can enjoy the public areas. They can enjoy the complimentary breakfast. They can enjoy the market. And it's all priced in a way that they can enjoy it. So I think it's resonated extremely well with our consumers.
Yeah, it certainly has, and it's a brand that's coming more and more part of the conversation every day from what I see out there on the road. So, okay, so tell me a little bit, Ben, then about I got this ridiculous list of hotels that would possibly open. It was over 60 of them because you have a very, very deep pipeline of new properties. And thanks for narrowing it down to, 60-something hotels. But I decided that I think Savannah Airport is going to be the number one choice, and that is going to be number 200. And I kind of put together through my rubric of what sounds like a good location, what timing it looks like, and a few other factors. So I'm clearly going to say Savannah. Do you have a choice? Are you allowed to make a choice? And where are you thinking this is headed?
I am not allowed to make a choice. As the brand head, I am not allowed to play favorites for this brand, and so I am going to remain extremely neutral. But one of the things that I can tell you is that the 200th hotel will not be a PR choice. We're not to move one hotel up or move another hotel back. This is going to be the actual 200th hotel. Now, you made a spectacular choice, Glenn, because Savannah is a wonderful area. We've got a couple of Homewoods in that area. It is a great place for this hotel and has a true potential to be the 200th, but we're not going to skew this in any way, shape, or form. We're going to let the numbers be the numbers.
All right, then. So you guys basically screwed me because I figured that this was going to be based on a PR choice. I've been around the business long enough, Adrian, to know that sometimes some of these numbers are fudged a little bit for highest visibility. So I picked Savannah amongst other reasons for that. So now I have to worry that it's going to be something like, I don't know, Jackson, Michigan, or Hanford, Lemoore, California, or Olive Branch, Mississippi. All of these ones that I immediately discounted because I didn't think it would be a high PR value. So that's interesting that you did that. It's going to be the actual 200th hotel. Any idea when this might open? Because I know we're talking end of the year, maybe top of 2018.
Well, we believe that based upon the current construction pipeline that it will be sometime in middle November to middle December, somewhere in there that it will happen. We're pretty sure it will happen this year. To your podcast, which I listen to and is awesome, to the podcast, I think that there will be some interesting occurrence because of the hurricanes.
Right.
And so we do know that there will be some construction delays in the Houston market, and there'll be some construction delays in the Florida market.
Yep.
And our team has been extremely proactive to go back and look at what happened during Katrina. And a lot of your listeners are developers. Mm-hmm. And, one of the big things that we found lessons from Katrina is drywall. If you think about every one of these places that was damaged in the hurricanes, that they all need drywall. And one of the difficult things for them for about a 2-year period was drywall was difficult to obtain. And so anybody who's out there under construction, if you can nail down your drywall now, the prices will probably go up, and it will be hard to get as places start to recover from that process.
That's really good piece of advice, and looks like I've got my next black market business I should specialize in.
There you go. Well, that and construction crews. I mean, you think about it,
right.
It's difficult. You're going to have an opportunity to kind of name your price as a construction crew, so you can go down to Florida and Houston and do your jobs down there differently than maybe you'd be able to do them in the Midwest. So a lot of construction crews moved down to New Orleans after Katrina, and it was hard to find people. So all of those things are things that people who are considering getting under construction or are under construction, they need to think about in order to help them get their units open.
That's a very interesting point, and it's I'm going to be curious to see how that affects the overall hotel industry development pipeline going forward, because as you know, there's that yin-yang balance between new hotel openings and increasing demand, and right now STR is predicting that there's going to be a little bit drop of demand compared to an increase in supply. So it'll be curious to see if that moderates and how that works for everybody. But when it comes to you, Adrian, what are you rooting for? Get as many hotels open as quickly as possible, I would assume?
Well, yeah, we want to get them open and under construction and open, and so that we can return on the owner's investment and we can deliver incredible service to the guests that are out there. And so we have our hotels very focused on the extended stay nature of the home 2 suites. And so we're looking for, in general, we're looking for about 50% of our occupancy, depending upon the specific market, to be extended stay business. And that is, we're a very niche brand, and we are a sales-oriented brand, and extended stay business is hard to find. And so, what we're kind of really looking for is people who are coming into this who are willing to pound the ground and find the extended stay, because if you get that 5+ nights traveler in there, it covers your shoulder nights, it covers your weekends. And with programs like light touch housekeeping, where you don't have to go in every day and remake the entire room, that helps drive margins. And so I'm kind of rooting for the extended stay side of it, and understanding, finding the right people to get into those markets and dig deep for that business and drive that. And then that drives the return on the investment, and we are a successful brand because of it.
Yeah, I think you're in the right place at the right time, Adrian, because this sector in general is really taking off, and you've got a really strong product behind it, especially now that you're seeing that you're really able to expand into more urban locations now. I think that's a little bit of a change in what the brand originally envisioned when it was created.
Yeah, we've been given some opportunities in those larger markets and taking advantage of that. And again, it's the beauty of the model is we can scale that model in a way that really helps us drive the return on the investment for the owners and deliver that right product in that urban environment. So it's very exciting for us to have the opportunity for these units.
Yeah, it sure is. It's pretty cool, and I encourage everybody to check out. If you haven't stayed at a Home 2 Suites, be sure to check that out. Adrian, before we wrap up today, I know I'm going to have you back on the show in a few weeks to get a further update as we creep closer to 200. Anything else that we should know before we wrap up today?
Well, just I want to thank you for your participation in this and for being a wonderful voice for the industry. And so if I am I don't know how many people are signed up for the podcast, but if you're in the industry and if you're not signed up for the podcast, you need to sign up for the podcast because it's valuable information. So appreciate your participation in this and all you do for the industry.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the plugs. And hey, if you're listening to the podcast, advertise on the podcast. We've got the brand new No Vacancy News website about to launch at the end of October, so I'm excited about that one. So take a look for it. And also send us what your guesses are to @TravelingGlenn on Twitter and Instagram, or find us at No Vacancy Podcast on Facebook, and let us know which one you think will be 200. I am firmly sticking in my Savannah Airport one until somebody gives me some inside information and I could change my guess. But I'm going with that one, and I don't like to be wrong about these things, Adrian. So I'm hoping that's number 200 out there. If not, maybe Las Vegas Strip South.
Yeah, and your listeners can follow us on. We've got the hashtag Road to Home 200 through our media center, and so your listeners can follow that and they can check on your accuracy.
Yes, and be sure if I'm not accurate to make fun of me, because I will probably deserve it. Adrian, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate it.
Great. Thanks to you all, and we'll be right back. Man, I love talking to Adrian. Such a great guy. And now we're going to go to a quick commercial break. But before we do that, I want to say I'm psyched that we get to talk with Anthony Melchiorri. I had him on the show earlier this year. We had such a great time. We did it again to promote two new shows of his coming up. One, of course, is Hotel Impossible, and he has a brand new series called Extreme Hotels. We talk all about those particular shows. I can't wait for you to hear this interview. Both shows debut Monday, October 2nd on the Travel Channel. But also, we had such a great time recording this interview. We did a completely second one immediately after we did the first one, and I'm going to release that as bonus material in the next couple of weeks. I think you're going to love that. Anthony's such a great guy. He's a real inspiration and really teaches each and every one of us that we can create whatever we want out of our lives. Not only is he a great hotelier, but he envisioned what he wanted out of life, and he created a great TV show, and he's really transformed his entire life because of that. And in our bonus episode, we'll talk a little bit about that next week. But I just find it amazing that he's somebody that could really accomplish everything that he wanted to, and will help give you a little bit of those keys as to how he did that. So remember, no matter where you start in life, you could get to where you want to go. But you got to put in the energy, you got to put in the hard work, and you got to make it happen yourself. Okay, we're going to go to commercial break right now, and as soon as we get back, Anthony Melchiorri, Extreme Hotels, and Hotel Impossible.
Have a question for your host, Glenn? Tweet him now @TravelingGlenn. No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Glenn here. And if you're like me, then I know that you love terrific art. Art that creates a sense of place. Art that tells a story of where you are. Art that adds a level of detail that you can't get anywhere else. And great folks that do this, Kevin Barry Fine Art Associates. You can find them online at kevinbarryfineart.com, and I highly encourage that you check them out. One recent project that I'm totally in love with is the Fairmont, Washington, D.C., where they created a custom project with a local artist, and they created some of this on site. They actually created a multi-dimensional wall sculpture from gold blocks, which is an abstracted map grid of the Washington, D.C. area. It's got different elevations to it and looks absolutely fantastic. It was done along with Deborah Forrest and Amanda Jackson of Forrest Perkins, which is now Perkins Eastman. And they all work together to create this fabulous new look. So if you want to create a fabulous new look for your hotel, or if you just love great art, check out kevinbarryfineart.com or give him a call at 310-945-2655. Let him know Glenn sent you.
Back to the show. It's No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast with your host, Glenn Hausman.
All right, so one of my favorite TV shows is coming back in the next week, and I can't wait for it to happen. I am stoked. We're talking Hotel Impossible, arriving on the Travel Channel October 2nd at 9 p.m., followed by another cool show, Extreme Hotels, at 10 p.m., and I just happen to have the host of both of those, Mr. Anthony Melchiorri. How are you, sir?
How are you, my friend? Good to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you. I'm really excited about this. You've had us waiting too long, Anthony. I mean, this is ridiculous. The wait's almost over, though. I can't tell you how stoked I am.
Well, it's interesting. When I'm busy, you don't see me. And when I'm slow, you see a lot of me. Because that means we've shot for the last 6 months, and we've been all over the country, all over the world. We've been to over 20-something countries, 100,000 miles, 80 planes, 80 hotel rooms, more car rides, bus rides, boat rides than you can imagine. We've done everything from ice climbing to diving down into a canyon, to my number one bucket list item was to ski the Swiss Alps. I was able to do that. I floated in the middle of the Baltic Sea.
Wow.
I hung out with monkeys on the Amazon. So
wow.
We've been very busy.
That's absolutely incredible. Well, I stayed at a hotel in Seekonk, Massachusetts last weekend. So hey, I guess we're both doing a lot of exotic travel.
You know what we have is on Monday, October 2nd.
Yep.
Actually, I'm going to correct you a little bit. October 2nd at 9:00.
Yep.
There's a show called Extreme Hotels.
Okay.
And then at 10:00, Hotel Impossible is back for its 8th season, and that starts at 10. The Extreme Hotels is a new show where we go all over the world and we show you the wildest water hotels, wildest treehouse hotels, planes, trains, and automobile hotels. And this week is a special called Haunted Hotels, where we go to the most haunted hotels in the world. And we're doing this one first because of Halloween.
Right.
And that's going to follow Zach's show, which does haunted buildings all over the world. So that's really exciting. The new show I'm really, really stoked for. It's a lot of fun. You're seeing things that you've never thought existed. There's a gentleman that took Oliver North's plane that he left in Costa Rica after the CIA said we had nothing to do with Iran-Contra, left the plane in the middle of Costa Rica.
Right.
20 years later, he buys the plane and he turns it into a bar and a restaurant right next to his hotel that's also an airplane.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I love those extreme hotels, and I got to tell you, they are total clickbait for me when I see them online because they're so different, they're so unique, and they're really so interested to me. But as cool as extreme hotels are, you're talking about haunted hotels here. Now, I've got both my feet in the real world, but I want to hear a good haunted house hotel story.
Okay, well, first of all, this is what I say when people say, do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
What I say is I'll never tell anybody what to believe.
Yep.
And I truly believe that I personally have seen shadows. My dad died when I was 2, and I'll go to my grave saying that I saw shadows of my dad in my bedroom when I was a kid. So I'm the last person to say they don't exist or they exist. What I will say is I'm not a person that goes to haunted hotels, or I'm not an expert at paranormal, or do I really follow paranormal. So when I went in to do the haunted hotels, I went in with an open mind, but also a little skepticism that a lot of people have. And I will tell you this. In my opinion, I found both a bunch of BS, and I found also stuff that really scared the living crap out of me.
Really? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so there was one hotel.
I got to tell you, Anthony, sorry to cut you off, but I don't visualize you as a guy that gets the crap scared out of him, especially being a Brooklyn dude. So this is pretty surprising to me.
Well, you know what? I'm a lot more afraid of people that are living that are dead than I am people that are living. The people that are living, I could sum them up pretty quick.
Right.
But I really listen. There were some. I'll just say people that I think were not on the up and up, and I would also say that there were extraordinary experiences that me and my team found, and we have someone on set that just does not believe in any of it, and by the end of it, he was convincing me that ghosts exist. So
wow.
There was one incident where I don't know if you'll see it or not. Oh, no, you will see parts of it. where I walked into a room and I said, I have to leave. And they said, why? I said, because I feel very cold and I feel very scared. And they were like, you know, one of my cameramen was like, come on, man, just stay in the room. I was like, dude, I got to get out of this room. I'm not sleeping in this room. I'm going to stay in this room. And people say, why? And I said, I have no idea. I just can't stay in this room.
Wow.
Then I went to the next room, which is apparently the most haunted hotel room in the world. Now, a lot of that's marketing, but they gave you 100 reasons why it's the most haunted hotel room in the world. And I stayed there, and I had an experience, and you'll see it on the show. And the experience was, I will just say, very strange. And I will also say I did not in any way, shape, or form, if you follow Hotel Impossible, know me, I did not embellish. I did not lie. I did not make crap up. What I was feeling and what I was seeing was exactly what I was feeling and seeing. I went in trying not to be that guy that tries to overhype a haunted hotel show. I went in with, I'm just going to show you a hotel that people say happen to be haunted, and if you want to stay, stay. And I definitely had some experiences. But I also had an experience where I thought the guy was full of crap.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's such a marketing angle, as you point out. Everybody wants to try to play up on that, especially for Halloween every single year. A major hotel collection brand puts out haunted hotel lists every single year, and it's a lot of fun to follow. Now, me, for one, I get a little nervous when it comes to haunted hotels, and because of The Shining, I just won't stay in room 237 no matter what hotel I'm at. I just don't want to take any chances.
Well, to be honest with you, I've never seen a haunted show. I've never seen a sci-fi show. I don't like those kind of shows because they scare me, so I just stay away from them.
Well, I've always been doubting, but now that I know you, a total stand-up guy that had a situation here, I've got to find out what hotel this is. I'm not going to ask you to reveal it. I'm going to ask everybody to tune in to Extreme Hotels arriving October 2nd at 9 p.m. and give that a shot, and then stick around for Hotel Impossible afterwards. Anthony, it's very exciting to see what's happened with the arc of this show. What is this, the 9th season now you're heading into?
Well, what they did, where we're in our 8th season, and not all, it took us a while to finish our 8th season. I'll just put it that way. Yeah. So we finished up our 8th season, and you will see the rest of the 8th season, which is 7 shows. Right. And then we're taking some time off, and then. If everybody's tuning in, we'll do more shows. Well, it also seems like you're starting to do these other type of concepts, like the Extreme Hotels, when we saw the Ice Hotels special that you did last winter. So, well, the Ice Hotel was so successful, and people loved it so much. It was really our pilot show for Extreme Hotels. Uh-huh. One of the things that travel wasn't sure of, and a couple of people weren't sure of, was is there enough to really fill up a season of Extreme Hotels. Oh, yeah. And what we've proven that there's probably 100 years worth of seasons in Extreme Hotels. And I'll be honest with you, I did not realize that there were as many Extreme Hotels as there are. And what I like about them is I don't like people that say, okay, I'm going to take an airplane and I'm going to build a hotel room. That kind of irritates me if you don't do it well. What I love is the one that we're going to show you is the gentleman did an airplane. He did several of them. He has 10 of them. And he built beautiful hotel rooms with great accommodation, first-class accommodations in the middle of the jungle. And it really, it's one, comfortable, two, very different. And it's not, people use the word kitschy. It's not kitschy. Just the word that was in my head right now. Yeah, I don't like that word because kitschy means it's like a plastic cup you buy in Times Square that says New York on it, right? That's, I got a New York plastic cup. Okay, everybody, you and everybody else does. Okay, it's not an authentic cup. It's a cup that somebody put New York on it. So what I love about these shows that we're showing you, they're not kitschy. Right. There's real hoteliers behind them. There's real service behind them. There's real destinations. I just came back from Peru. It took us 3 airplanes, a 2-hour bus ride, a 2-hour boat ride, and the only way to get to this hotel is a 2-hour boat ride on the Amazon. Jesus. Monkeys were flying in my boat. That we were fishing for piranhas. I was hanging out with a sloth. Then I had to take basically a quarter-mile walk into the jungle, go 100 feet up to my hotel room, and you have to keep your oranges off the counters, because if the monkeys see them, they'll whip through the mosquito netting and take your orange.
Wow! All right, so that's amazing.
And when you get there, the beds are comfortable. The food was extraordinary, and the service was first rate. So if I go in the middle of the jungle and I have to sleep in mosquito netting, I want to sleep on a comfortable bed. I want a really hot shower. And when I go down after my 100-foot climb into my treehouse and my quarter-mile walk to the front desk, when I get to the dining room, I want good food. And it was really good. And it was actually the gentleman that owns it or started it was the gentleman that created, he's a computer scientist, he created the Tiger Woods golfing game, which I found fascinating.
Yeah, probably made a mint off of it.
Yeah, that's where he made his money. And one day he was just like, you know what? People need to see what I see in the Amazon, and I'm going to build a treehouse, and I'm going to build a treehouse hotel. And he did a fantastic job. So we're really not only for searching for creative, thematic, extreme hotels, we're searching for hospitality.
How do hotels like that attract people, get them there, and make money? It seems really difficult to find a lot of people that are willing to do what you did to go there.
Believe it or not, there are people that are unlike us, Glenn, that actually not only love these kind of hotels, but these are the only kind of hotels they have. I'll give an example. I was on the boat going over there. It's a 2-hour ride, and there's this family, originally from Vietnam, but most of them grew up in New York, and one of them actually knows my coach and knows my neighborhood, and grew up in America, but they love extreme hotels and they love extreme places, and we had a ball. They're actually on the show. They made me eat piranha eyeballs, brains, and teeth.
Oh my goodness!
And if it wasn't for them, I may not have eaten it. So and then there's this young lady who's a lawyer who just wants to push herself, and she went to the Tree Hotel for a week, and she loved it. And she played with monkeys and sloths, and she had all kinds of great stories. She also likes to blog, and she had great stories. So there's a lot of people that do it. I will say most of these hotels, you have to be adventurous, and you have to be in relatively good shape.
So then I can't visit any of them. That's a shame.
Well, the Treehouse Hotel, the Treehouse Hotel really pushed them.
Right.
That was you have to go over bridges and you have to go over. I mean, it really pushed me, but it was fun. Would I go again? I don't know if I'd go again, but I would have been upset if I missed it.
Absolutely. Well, it seems a lot of these extreme hotels are once-in-a-lifetime things. You want to go and have that experience, connect with the property, connect with the environment, connect with the food and beverage that's there, and then once you have that, then you want to probably go and check off another crazy place off your list.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I feel, is like I love doing these hotels. But would I necessarily return? A couple of them I would return.
Yeah.
We all work so hard and I travel so much. I like comfort when I travel for vacation, and I'm not really an extreme traveler. However, one of the things the show's done for me is it really showed me you can have luxury hospitality and you can have an environment that is different than a courtyard in a 3- or 4-star hotel.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of these types of hotels, there's something about going to them and having that particular experience that, when you break it down, it's great to do it once, but there are so many amazing properties out there that you just want to go and you have these experiences throughout the world. So almost it seems like no matter how great of a job the hotel does, it's going to be harder to bring somebody back a second time than that particular courtyard that you're talking about if someone comes to that neighborhood for business. So that's got to be an interesting challenge that these hoteliers have to face. I'm sure you've talked about them with that off camera.
Well, I've talked about it on camera too.
Oh, yeah?
One of the good things about these kind of hotels, good and bad, is 1, they're expensive to build, 2, they're remote.
Right.
And 3, you're not building 400 rooms. You're building 10 rooms, 8 rooms, 30 rooms, 20 rooms. And you have not just America to to pick from, you have the world. Because when you take I give an example. We were in Amsterdam, and there's a hotel with 3 rooms that happens to be in an historic area that is a crane hotel. Now, when I say a crane hotel, I don't know if you read about it, but I don't mean a crane hotel like it looks like a crane. I mean, it is a crane. And they took the compartment of where the driver sat to move this crane and made it a hotel room. Now, there's 3 of these rooms, and they're very nice rooms. And they literally, when I was there was a young lady from, I want to say, China. No, Japan. From Japan. And I said, why are you in Amsterdam? She goes, because I wanted to stay at the Crane Hotel. I said, okay, let me make this clear. You came from Japan, so you can spend 2 days in the Crane Hotel. Yes, and then we're going to stay, because we came from the Crane Hotel, we're going to stay in Amsterdam, and we're going to go to other parts of Europe. But our number one priority was to stay at the Crane Hotel.
Wow. And I'm looking at pictures of the Crane Hotel right now online. Thank you, Internet. What a interesting and creative concept this is. And it really is something that defines a property, wins attention, and apparently is getting people from halfway around the world to come and visit. That's pretty amazing.
And you know what it did for me is it made me fall in love with Amsterdam. And what the treehouse did was made me fall in love with sloths.
Right.
You know, I didn't know what a really sloth was. There's a sloth that's hugging me like my 3-year-old kid did when she was, when she was a baby. And I didn't realize, hanging out with monkeys in Amazon would be pretty cool. And I didn't realize a cenote in Mexico, I can, swim literally in a giant swimming pool in a cenote. I didn't realize that there was cave diving, which is the most dangerous diving in the world, because people sometimes get lost and never come back.
Right.
I didn't realize on the crane in Amsterdam I could bungee jump. I mean, there's so much. And then I was with my daughter.
Did you bungee jump?
Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on which side of the bungee you were on, the gentleman wouldn't let us because it was too windy.
Right. Yeah.
However,
good excuse there, Anthony.
However, we did something pretty extreme. But what was really funny is my daughter came with me, and we were shooting 5 countries in 13 days. And so she traveled all over the countries with me, and it was a great experience. But we're in the red light district of Amsterdam, and we're walking through, and we're in this bakery, and I wanted to get one of these waffles. And the lady said to me, wheat. And I was like, okay, I can have wheat. And she said, wheat. And I said, fine, I can have wheat. And my daughter goes, Dad, she's saying weed. So if it wasn't for my daughter, me and my daughter would have been stoned in Amsterdam.
Well, if you're going to do it, that's definitely a place to do it.
Yeah, what I love about the extreme hotels was Hotel Impossible is my soul, and is really kind of something we've created and created from the very beginning, and every part of my being is in that hotel show, and is in that show. I mean, I couldn't put more blood into it if I tried.
Right.
And I love it, and I love helping people, and I love that a lot of people have learned, and that I'm now invited to, whether it be UNLV or Cornell or to Hilton.
Or Hilton a couple of weeks ago, yeah.
To be able to speak at these places is really a dream come true. So it's been fantastic. What I love about extreme hotels is it takes people like me that think they've seen it all and think they know it all, and they don't know crap and haven't seen crap.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And now that I'm really starting to see a different side of the hospitality industry, and really even a more challenging side of the hotel industry, it's fascinating. Imagine building a treehouse hotel in Peru with the government of that town not really wanting an outsider, bringing fresh, clean water to the hotel, and then being able to have hospitality and then train people in that area that doesn't really know anything about hospitality.
Right.
And so not only you're helping that community, this gentleman actually brought clean water to the town for the first time ever. And there's 300 residents that live in that town that not only work at the hotel, but every single day the families go down to the well that he's created, and they have clean water.
Oh, that's amazing.
They were drinking water. They were drinking water out of the Amazon and trying to filter it out. So you really find the challenges of hospitality, but also you find what happens when you build a hotel in the middle of nowhere and the jobs it creates and really the goodwill it creates. So it's not only about the hotel, it's about people challenging themselves to do things that normal people don't do. And I will also say the thing that I realized is the people that have gotten involved in these kind of hotels, by and large, at least the ones I've met, have made their money somewhere else, never in the hotel business, but they've come in and they've had enough money to make mistakes and then fix the mistakes. You can't build a tree house or you can't build an airplane hotel with milk money. You have to build these hotels and these experiences with money that is not going to cost you your home or your kids' college fund. It's almost like fun money that you're like, you know what, I'm too young to retire. I bore easy, so I'm going to go to Peru and build a treehouse hotel.
Well, it sounds like
a mistake.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
If it's a mistake, I'm going to put the money in to fix my mistake, and I'm going to help my community. So I'll tell you, it's really fascinated me.
It really that really is fascinating, and you don't really think about these things. Sometimes you think, oh, hey, some rich guy doing a crazy thing, but when you break it down to how it transforms communities and actually works as an economic engine, or in this case, bringing clean water, it's truly transformational to a particular group of people. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and you know what I've learned also is, and I've learned this early on, is rich people become rich because they don't like losing money. So once it's not like they're throwing this money, they're very frugal about their money, and they don't want to lose it. And it's almost like a game, like not a game, but it's a challenge. It's like if you play baseball I'm starting to fight a little bit in Muay Thai, and you don't want to lose. I mean, it doesn't mean you want to win a championship and your whole life doesn't depend on it, but you don't want to lose. And that's kind of how I feel about these hotels, that the people got their money in it, and yes, it's fun, but they also want to, they want to make money. They want it to support itself. So they take it seriously.
That's interesting, because a lot of times when I think of super rich guys, for example, getting involved in hotels, it seems to be more of an ego play than wanting to actually make an investment that makes money. So it's great to see that there's a lot of people out there. Do you think you have to have a super extreme hotel to have that kind of attitude, or does it just kind of spread to most folks in the hospitality business?
Well, I think a lot of successful people are extreme in their thinking, right?
Right, makes sense.
Now, when people said to me years ago, you're out of your mind and the hotel business, you'll never be able to come back and they'll laugh you out of the business.
Right.
And I was afraid. I was really afraid. I mean, I was petrified. But I kind of have an extreme view that, we're only here once. And if I'm going to do something, the only person I have to make happy is me. If I make me happy, then everybody else is happy. And so I had this extreme view that I can do this show and it can be real and no one is going to tell me what to do. It's literally been the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but I did it. And because of viewers, and because of people like you, and because of my peers, they've allowed me to stay engaged in the business, and not only stay engaged, but invest in the business, manage hotels in the business, talk to conventions, and get involved in ownership of property. So I've been very fortunate. So people that have been extreme in their career, just take that inability to sit still and that inability to be lazy and that inability to just do the same thing over and over, then just take another challenge. And this gentleman that built the Treehouse Hotel, 10 years from now, he may build, who knows? He may build the next Rubik's Cube,
right? Just
because he's bored.
Yeah, well, I think that would be a great hotel, and then the hotel rotates and changes, and you get different colors inside your room throughout the day. That I think is a great idea. But Anthony, what struck me is you said, you're talking about getting out of your comfort zone and being scared to do something, and this is the hardest thing that you've ever done. But I guess that there's a lot of parts in your life where you could kind of say the same thing. And it's really, in order to be successful in life, you have to recognize that the only way to make success is to continue to push yourself, get out of your comfort zone, and do all those things that scare the heck out of you, because if you play it safe, then you're really not going to get anywhere, right?
Well, one of the things is, especially as you get older, right, you have a family, you have obligations, you have a mortgage, so you have to mitigate, your risk, and you have to really worry about your risk. I was watching a show with Steve Harvey, and Steve Harvey, in order to be on TV and be a comedian, he left his family at an early age, not even early age, in his 20s, and until he's 36, he left his twins and his wife. And that's extreme.
Yeah.
And now he's made good, and now he's got 17 TV shows, and him and his twins are best friends, and he's made good. But he had a burning desire that he knew he was going to make it. Now, that would be too extreme for me,
right.
but he got it done, right? He got it done. And he said something that really, really stuck with me. And he said, get it wrong till it hurts.
Yeah.
You know, and that stuck with me because it hurts.
Yeah.
You know, and when you want to turn back around, and I'm not just talking about the TV show or our careers in general, I'm just talking about anyone. You know, my kids right now are in college, and, you know, one's kind of figuring out maybe she wants to go to a different college, and they're finding their way. And one of the things as parents we try to do is we try to kind of cushion the fall, right?
Right.
That's what I do, and that's, you know, I just can't help it. But what I'm learning is the reason any successes come my way or people that I know are successful is because I failed miserably, and it hurt, and no one believed in me, and I've cried, and I wanted to turn back, and I couldn't turn back simply because, honestly, I'd rather die, and that's just my mentality. I remember those moments where I was like, I got to turn back. I was like, you know what? Jesus, I'd rather die right now. Kill me right now, and put me out of my pain, then turn back. I can't turn back. And those are the people that are, you know, a lot of those people that we see the successful overnight successes have had failures for 20 years or have had to keep going when everybody said they didn't believe in them.
Yeah.
Whether it be the gentleman who wrote the Tiger Woods software, whether it be Steve Harvey, whether it be the gentleman that saw his father kill himself literally at 53 years old because he was a high-end patent attorney in Connecticut, and he realized, I have a Yale education, and I made some money, but I don't want to be 53 and dead because I'm worrying about a patent for somebody else. I mean, and so I'm going to take my resources and my intelligence and do something else, but I'm going to do something extreme. So the show, to me, hopefully, like Hotel Impossible, is not a hotel show, and it's not about seeing beautiful places. It's about being extreme, not climbing 10,000-foot mountains, but pushing yourself to your comfort level, out of your comfort level. There's a young kid that I'm very blessed to have direct mails from a lot of college students around the country, and just a lot of young kids around the country on literally a daily basis. At 5 o'clock today, I have a kid from Cornell that wants to talk to me about his paper. So every day, there's not a day that goes by that I don't talk to a kid that asks to talk to me about the hotel business. And this one kid literally sends me this long email about what to do, and I'm scared, and this and that, and I want to kind of take this next jump. And this is all I sent to him. This was like 3 weeks ago. Right. I texted him back or DM'd him back, and this is all I said: put a small pebble in your shoe and walk around for a week. That's all I said. Right. And then call me back. I'm still waiting for a call back. Right. And I'm still waiting for him to respond to that. And what I was trying to say was, be uncomfortable for a week and see how that feels. And if you're okay with being uncomfortable and you start getting used to being uncomfortable and having a rock in your shoe, then maybe it's time for a change. But if you were like, man, that was annoying and that really, that was way out of my comfort zone, then you should probably stay put.
Yeah. Well, I would argue that you got to, no matter what in life, and you said it, you've got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because if you're just always comfortable, then you're never going to get the achievements that you're hoping to get in life. You're just going to be a bystander and watch everyone else succeed and be stuck on the sidelines. Right, Anthony?
Yeah, and you know what? I try to teach my children this. You know, put your dreams in a box and just read them every day. Yeah, read them every day. And when you forget and you get punched in the face, read your dream and don't tell anybody. This is the biggest mistake that people make in life. They tell people what their goals are. Yes. Okay, they say like, I'm going to do. No one knew I was going to do a hotel show. No one knew I was doing extreme hotels. I'm working on a project now nobody knows about. Nobody, and I won't talk about it. I will not talk about my goals until they're basically solid. Right. Because the second I talked about I was doing a hotel show, not everybody, but the majority of people that considered my friends crapped on it.
Right.
And they didn't mean to. They didn't mean me any harm, and they didn't mean to do it. But they are like, that is crazy. And I'm like, no, that's kind of not crazy. That's kind of like normal. Like, that's the next step for the hotel business. We need to get it out there and show people that this is a great industry.
Right.
So it's not crazy at all. Matter of fact, it's crazy that it hasn't been on TV.
Yeah, you're right.
In the last 20 years, you have cop shows, you have hospital, you have hospital shows, fire shows. You have all kinds of shows. But one of the biggest employers in the world, hotels, don't have a show.
Well, I wanna scold you. Don't you remember Hotel from the early '80s? You remember that one? But that
was what do you call it? That wasn't real.
I know. Wait. You mean, are you telling me that was not real stories? I would have thought Aaron Spelling did for sure a factual show.
No, it wasn't even. Actually, what it did was, I think it kind of created this false impression that running hotels is sexy, fun, and not hard.
Mm-hmm. And Hotel Impossible absolutely shows it's just the opposite, that it is a challenge every single day, and that you've got to be sharp and continue to learn. Yeah.
But you have to also see it as fun. I have fun every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I've been stressed out. My daughter said to me about 6 months ago, she goes, "Dad, you have to get stressed." And I literally laughed in her face.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't mean to, but it was just a reaction. And I said, "That's the greatest compliment anyone's ever given me."
Yep.
And she's like, "Do you ever get stressed?" Like every second of every day.
Right. It sounds like we have a lot in common.
but you know what? But I have fun. So if you're having fun and you're laughing all the time, you forget what you have to worry about.
Right. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
So there's a picture on my Instagram
of
my daughter and me and my 5 crew members. Only 5 crew members on Extreme Hotels.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just got back from JFK Airport. It was I don't know, I think it was very early in the morning or very late at night, like 12 o'clock at night. And we just flown 24 hours. We just got back from 13 countries. I'm sorry, 5 countries in 13 days. Didn't sleep a lot. Traveled more miles than you can imagine. And we took this picture, and we're all laughing, and we're all still love each other.
That's great.
Now, if you can do that with a crew and go into hotels and go into areas that you've never been before, and you don't have a script, and you don't really know what the hell you're doing, you're just showing up and say, "Let's have some fun," and the crew at the end of the show still likes each other.
Yep.
Man, you're too busy having fun to worry about the stress.
Well, that's good. And also a little too busy having fun than that you didn't even realize that getting to that hotel in the middle of the Amazon was easier than getting through customs upon your return to JFK. So congratulations on not being too stressed out from that. All right.
Well, actually, I was fortunate that there was a guy sitting next to me that recognized me. And he was a customs agent, and he made it easy for me.
That's awesome. Well, good for you. I like that. I tease, but I need to back it up with complimenting customs. When I returned with my family in mid-August from a trip overseas, I had to wait on the regular line because I'm the only one with the global entry. But we were in and out of there, luggage included, within 25, 30 minutes. It was absolutely amazing. So I have to say
customs actually,
to them.
Because of those computers, customs have been better.
Yeah.
And, and listen, and the travel experience it seems to be getting a little bit better. It's still, there's some airlines that I will not name.
Yeah, no reason to.
Still got their heads up their butt.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are doing it. A lot of them are doing it right. But anyway.
Yeah.
So Hotel Impossible.
Let's plug the show a little bit more, and then I'll let you go because we've been on for a long time now. I know you got stuff to do.
Well, I'll give you a lot of points to edit, right?
Yeah. I'm too lazy to edit. I don't want to get out of my comfort zone with editing there, Anthony.
Right. I will tell you this, and this is not hyping the show. This is Hotel Impossible that starts October 2nd at 10 o'clock on the Travel Channel. This is not hyping the show. This is the God honest truth. The last show that that me and my team did, that we developed, we produced, the last Hotel Impossible that we shot a couple of months ago was the best we've ever done.
Awesome.
And I'm not saying that to plug the show. If you like a challenge, if you like to see me out of my effing mind, if you like to see something you've never seen before, then that's the best show we've ever done. I will just tell you this. I broke down.
Really?
Like sobbing.
Wow.
Yeah, I sobbed. I wouldn't let them shoot me sobbing because I was so out of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because the owner was so disrespectful
Really?
to one of the employees and the employees in general that, you know, being a guy from Brooklyn, there's one or two things to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can either punch him in the face, which I really wanted to do,
Of course.
or you could just walk away.
Mm.
So I walked away because I haven't punched anybody in the face since the Air Force.
Right.
And I'm not going to choose to punch anyone in the face at 53 years old, especially on national television. But I was at the level that I wanted to step into him. And I stepped out and I broke down because
Right.
I was so angry. And to run a hotel, I will tell you it was a water park,
Mm-hmm.
to run a 600-room hotel in such a deplorable, disrespectful way was more than I could handle. And that these hotels are open in America is despicable.
Wow.
And I was never so angry. It's the first time ever that I refused to let the director shoot me when I was having a breakdown.
Wow.
Like usually I put everything out there, but I was so out of my mind
Mm-hmm.
that it wasn't like this was a very private moment. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you see me walk off
Yeah.
and you see me come back, but the moment I had in my trailer was like I couldn't control myself.
Wow.
Because to think that the opening scene is this young lady who's coming into the hotel and she has a birthday cake in her hand. Her kid is in school. She's going to surprise her daughter with a birthday party after school at this water park. And she picked this hotel because it was inexpensive. She was on a tight budget. And she had read online that there were bed bugs in the hotel, but that the owners have taken care of the problem.
Right.
Okay? I meet this woman haphazardly as I'm checking in at the front desk myself on camera. And I said, listen, I read a lot about that there's bed bugs in this hotel. Would you allow me to go up to your room and check with my bed bug dog before you go in?
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, the woman would have had bed bugs.
Wow. Wow.
So we took her, we got her a room at a different resort,
Mm-hmm.
a very nice resort. We paid the bill,
Great.
and we got her a birthday party.
Beautiful.
If I wasn't there, this woman, because of the budget, she would have had to expose her children, her family,
Mm-hmm.
and her children's friends to bed bugs because she was taking a risk because financially she couldn't afford to go to a better hotel. That pissed me off more than I can ever tell you.
I bet. Because
That a woman who is on a budget and can't afford a $400 a night room and wants to give her kid a beautiful experience because this, excuse my language, son of a bitch
Yep.
wanted to make a profit, was going to be disrespectful to this woman. And that show really actually made me want to do more Hotel Impossible and want me to keep the show on air forever.
Well, let's
because,
hope.
or as long as they'll have me.
Yeah, well, let's hope that everybody watches, and there's a lot of great feedback, and make sure you let the Travel Channel know you want to see more Hotel Impossible in 2018 and beyond. But for now, Anthony, October 2nd, Extreme Hotels at 9, Hotel Impossible at 10. Man, they might as well just give you the whole network. You're doing so much over there. Good job.
No, I think Andrew Simmons got that locked up. He's fantastic.
All right, whatever. I'm still in your boat, no matter what. So I want to let you know I have a whole list of things I did want to talk to you about. Didn't get to any of them. We're already 40 minutes into this interview. Hopefully we'll get you back on again in the future.
All right, my friend.
Any other shameless plugs that you want to make? You got a chance right now.
The only thing I want to say is I'm humbled and honored that the hospitality industry has really embraced this show and has allowed me to do something that I'm very passionate and love for a very long time. So I'm very honored by it.
Excellent. Well, I love it, and I'll be watching, that's for sure. And I want to thank everybody for listening, and I will be back next week. That is, unless I decide to go hang out in a hotel in a tree somewhere in the middle of the Amazon. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter at Traveling Glenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Hausman. We'll catch you next time.